standing by. Hold on, yeah. When you have heartaches, don't cry. Oh no. Just remember that God is standing by. Sometime when your burden is down, just remember God is standing by. Thank you, Lord. So there's no need to cry. Oh, God is standing by. Thank you, Lord. So don't you worry and don't cry. No. When you have troubles, don't cry. Oh no. Just remember that God is standing by. When your cup runneth over, just remember God is standing by. Thank you, Lord. So there's no need to cry. God is standing by. Thank you, Lord. So just ride out, don't worry and don't cry. Times in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow. But if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me.
Yes, indeed. A pleasant good night to all and sundry. When things are not going right, when things seem to be tough, when the burden is so tremendous, there is always a saving grace. And of course, he helps those who help themselves. Yes, I'm talking about that superior one, that supreme one. Whether you see as your sacred book, the Gita, the Bible, the Quran, or any other sacred that you consider to be equal to that superlative, that superior being that will take care of the load that you may be carrying. A pleasant good night to all at sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, or friends in Tobago, and wherever you are streaming on the World Wide Web. A pleasant good night to you. This is yesterday Corridor Transformation in the Sunday edition. Yes, indeed. Let's play that a little more to get some inspiration. I think we need that as we go through life in general, and therefore we must not dismiss or treat lightly these what I consider to be essential of life. So welcome.
If you're a community leader searching for true success stories, you'll want to hear this. Because sometimes, it takes a world of support to spark local change. Here's how Laventille found its spark. For the people of Laventille and Eastport of Spain, gratitude runs deep, thanks to the government of India and its powerful commitment to community development. Through the Indian Ministry of External Affairs ITEC program, a micro-business incubator initiative took root right here, coordinated by the ever-dedicated Mr. Dada Gabriel from LFL. 7 years ago, this journey began with training, sacrifice, and microfinancing, all made possible by India's vision for global partnership. Today, we're celebrating a week-long observance of this initiative, a testament to what's possible when nations and communities unite. Mr. Dada Gabriel's expertise, shaped by entrepreneurial management training in India, has driven a grassroots movement that's generating wealth, creating jobs, and building peace and security right here in our neighborhoods. This week marks more than just an anniversary, it's a celebration of resilience, collaboration, and opportunity. From Sunday, June 29th to Friday, July 4th, we're honoring the impact of this initiative, with community leaders, business groups, banks, credit unions, and government officials all coming together. And as we prepare to welcome the Indian High Commissioner at our closing event, we say a heartfelt thank you to the government and people of India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and all who made this vision a reality. Here's to 7 years of growth, and to many more ahead. Because when the world lends a helping hand, local communities can truly thrive.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Another milestone, people. And who say that all is dead? Who say that where the people lack vision, they are doomed? Well, the opposite is the case, obviously. If the people have vision, if the people are saturated with prospects and optimism, then the opposite is the case. It means that they are not doomed, but they can glorify in the developments that would take place because of the presence of vision. And of course, vision here also means the capacity to execute. Let's play that again. Because you see, I have heard all of my adult life and of course my younger days that Laventille is a lost cause. That Eastport of Spain, Laventille, Beetham, Sealats, etc. are merely, of course, provide the authorities with opportunities for containment. They are attracted to the subterranean culture. They have higher than national average murders. They have higher than national average young girls having children early. Higher than national average promiscuity. Higher than national average school dropouts. Higher than national average truancy, meaning people who simply skip school. Higher than national average persons who do not get a full certificate in, as far as CXC or even GCE that was its predecessor, 5 subjects. Higher than national average, of course, poverty. Higher than national average persons who have a low sense of themselves, poor esteem, self-esteem. Of course, higher than national average crimes. Higher than national average, we have, and we must add, infrastructural deterioration and housing lacking thereof accommodation. As the place is, of course, saturated, or put another way, is of course overcrowded. But in the midst of all of that, we have stories like this. Let's play it again for your edification and for your understanding. Let's play it again. Let's play it again.
If you're a community
Yes, indeed. Let's play it again.
leader searching for true success stories, you'll want to hear this. Because sometimes, if you're a community leader searching for true success stories, you'll want to hear this. Because sometimes, it takes a world of support to spark local change. Here's how Laventille found its spark. For the people of Laventille and Eastport of Spain, gratitude runs deep, thanks to the government of India and its powerful commitment to community development. Through the Indian Ministry of External Affairs ITEC program, a micro-business incubator initiative took root right here, coordinated by the ever-dedicated Mr. Dada Gabriel from LFL. 7 years ago, this journey began with training, sacrifice, and microfinancing, all made possible by India's vision for global partnership. Today, we're celebrating a week-long observance of this initiative, a testament to what's possible when nations and communities unite. Mr. Dada Gabriel's expertise, shaped by entrepreneurial management training in India, has driven a grassroots movement that's generating wealth, creating jobs, and building peace and security right here in our neighborhoods. This week marks more than just an anniversary, it's a celebration of resilience, collaboration, and opportunity. From Sunday, June 29th to Friday, July 4th, we're honoring the impact of this initiative, with community leaders, business groups, banks, credit unions, and government officials all coming together. And as we prepare to welcome the Indian High Commissioner at our closing event, we say a heartfelt thank you to the government and people of India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and all who made this vision a reality. Here's to 7 years of growth, and to many more ahead. Because when the world lends a helping hand, local communities can truly thrive.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Some very powerful words there, and some extremely motivational expressions. And of course, a sense of satisfaction.
If you're a community leader searching for true success stories, you'll want to hear this. Because sometimes it takes a world of support.
Without, of course, the audio. Yes, indeed. You see, people, the Lord moves in mysterious ways his wonders to perform. Just as how I would tell you that, listen, evil cannot prevail. I said that from time immemorial, since we have been interacting with each other. Evil cannot prevail. And when, of course, there is a scenario where there appears to be a preponderance of evil, and that good seems to be lost to many of us, there are those who see the glass half full as opposed to half empty. It is against that background that I am very, very proud and pleased to know that we created, of course, LFL since 2007 with the specific objective of improving the quality of life and standard of living of the people of Eastport of Spain, Laventille, Bitam, Silat, and all the communities either associated, surrounding, or in between. And I'm saying to you tonight that it was pure serendipity. It was pure divine intervention that while we catered for and planned for our week of celebrations, as far as our business, or put another way, our micro business incubator program, and of course microfinancing or micro crediting program, which we launched and implemented, headed by, of course, as the article would indicate, by Dada Gabriel I know you know him in another capacity. We will deal with that in the other capacity in a while. But the fact of the matter is that that man, Dada Gabriel, was the man that was selected by LFL, led by yours truly, myself, to go to India and, of course, benefit from an entrepreneurial management program at one of its prestige institutions that deals with that. But more importantly, the exposure, it was so overwhelming because the Indian government, apart from sponsoring the entire exercise, would attract, of course, persons from all over the globe, every corner of the world, and from every continent, whether it's Australia, whether it's Asia, whether it be, of course, the Americas, or whether it be, of course, Europe, and, of course, Africa. So, that program, indeed, rich and rewarding in terms of the experience, quite apart from the knowledge that would have been imparted. And Dada Gabriel was the man that was selected by us to, of course, pursue that course. What he had to do in return, on his return here, is to, of course, train others, teach others to become businessmen as well from the training that he would have gotten in India. Well, in 2019, that journey began. And what we have now is some 7 institutions dotted in close proximity to each other right here in East Port of Spain that has caused us now to celebrate a week long of this particular initiative called, of course, the Laventille for Laventille, or the LFL Micro Business and Microfinancing or Microcredit Initiative. They are around. We are going to be celebrating, and of course, we invited the Indian High Commissioner to celebrate with us. We didn't know that the Indian Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, would have been in the country come Friday coming. But we had planned, of course, a week long, and there's a strategic reason for that. In, of course, highlighting this initiative meant that there would be those who would be inquiring or a bit inquisitive, let me put it that way, but not in a negative sense, to find, well, what is really going on? How come this place haven't been bombarded with all kinds of negativity? How come this place can develop such a initiative, attract the Indian government? Of course, the Indian economy would take over in the next probably several years as the 7th largest economy in the world, from Great Britain, who, of course, incidentally or accidentally, or again by serendipity, happened to be, of course, their former colonial masters, just as we in the Caribbean, just as we in Trinidad, and of course, just as the Indian historical experience in terms of their colonial past and their colonial antecedent or history. Very important. So here it is, we found ourselves where the Prime Minister of India is to visit. We, of course, are in the jaws of our week-long celebration, recognizing the anniversary of the 7th anniversary of our micro business and incubator, and of course a micro financing or credit initiative. And he is to pay us a visit. Well, I knew that last Friday thereabout from the Indian High Commissioner. Look him there, the doctor. His name slipped me now, but I'm gonna get abreast of it as we move along, because we have a whole 5 days again, or 6 days. But the fact of the matter is that he said, well, you know, why should you have invited me to come on Friday? The Prime Minister of India will be here. Well, of course, one time I decided to, of course, do my homework, so to speak, as I normally would do. And indeed, of course, not only was that confirmed, but part of his itinerary, of course, some of which you wouldn't know because of security issues, but part of his itinerary is to address, of course, both houses of Parliament simultaneously. And then, of course, it dawned on us, well, if that is the case, and we invited, of course, the High Commissioner to be with us at around 10 o'clock thereabout, then it is logical and common sense for us, of course, to try to, or should I say, postulate or to suggest to the High Commissioner, but listen, could he then pay a visit to us in East Port of Spain on George Street where our facility is, and then he could take a walk to the brief, as it may be, to the various businesses that were established or part and parcel of that initiative by LFL, Laventille, for Laventillians. I'm talking here strictly in my capacity as chairman of LFL, not as Love, not as the political party. I'm talking about civil society here. And since I don't know if it is divine intervention or what, but it so happens that the Parliament of the country came back to the Red House, and the Red House is not too far from here. We just have to cross, of course, Charlotte Street, then, of course, Henry Street, and then you meet Frederick Street, and you go through, of course, the square, and you are on Abercrombie Street, where the Red House is located. At least the eastern boundary is lined or is skirted by Abercrombie Street. A very short walk. And I remember some time ago when Basio Pandey had made me a temporary senator, and I took the initiative not only to immediately make my contribution to the debate that was on the table at the time in the House, in the Senate, but I was minded to, of course, ask the entire Senate to rise and to walk across along Prince Street, crossing George Street, and of course we assemble right there between George and Prince Streets. And I was minded, and I took that ideation, I took that mauling, I took that contemplation in the context as to show the senators who are decision makers in their own right, because they make laws, etc., and maybe, of course, ministers of government at the same time. So there's a very, what I consider to be reasonable mix of individuals that could influence whatever they would have seen when I would have invited them to walk across from the Red House to, of course, the corner of George and Prince Street, just to observe how the people operate, how they live, how they interact. You don't want a better, what I consider to be a grounds for observation than that. You don't want a greater sociological lab than that. And the sociologists, of course, will call it participatory observation. Whatever you call it, the fact of the matter is that they would have gotten a full appreciation, though it would have been for a couple of hours or minutes, but would have gotten, of course, an understanding as how the people survive and how they operate. Because, of course, I would have been heading the entire process and therefore pointing as well as, of course, edifying at the same time. But let's go straight to the line. We always give way to, of course, the callers. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Good night, Lennox.
A pleasant good night, my friend.
Lennox,
Yeah.
tomorrow's a landmark date in the Senate, boy.
Tell me.
Well, they have that Stuart Young pension business to see about in the Senate, and the government is looking for 4 votes from them in order for the bill to pass to remove that. But not only that, right? The government came out this morning and maybe get him a good tongue lashing if you listen to him what he say. He said they're not really independent, you know. But I just call them independent P&M senators, right?
Yeah.
Because you see how they misbehaving already, and he gave a boy and Maggie some statistics on how each other vote during the period that they was there. From this fella who there for the longest while up to some of them that they that's the mid office included.
Vera.
Paul Richards. Yeah, Vera.
Yes.
Paul Richards is number 1. Every bill that PNM bring, he support all. And I thought he was the number 1 PNM senator from my point of view. But let me tell you this, right? The people is against this man taking this pay hike or salary increase or
Yes.
pension, whatever the heck you want to call it, right? And
Yeah.
if them independent senators take God out of their thought and support that by not giving the support to the government and the people of this country, them is no more than what do you call them?
Nimakaram.
Nimakaram, yeah. Political Nimakarams.
Yes.
Because the people of this country don't want that today. And furthermore, they're talking about this thing called what? How they backdate it now. Let me tell you something. All the government backdate demands.
Oh, yeah. Retroactive, yes.
Right, retroactive. Let me tell you this. So, yeah, they give you the salary, and how it look? Because the amendments they make in the bill, you have to have 1 year. You get 1 quarter, 2 years, you get half, 3 years, 3/4, 4 year full pension, right?
Yes.
And I find that fair. It's fair, right? It come like if they do it like how the public services operate, right? And nobody going home from that parliament or the Senate or anything empty-handed. They're going with something when they leave office. Unlike you and me, you had to work somewhere to get that, right?
Yes.
But that is what I'm trying to say. How they phrase the entire thing now. It's fair. So I don't see how this going to affect Young or anybody else if them go back, if they remove that salary from me. Because it's an unfair practice that took place there on the taxpayers of this country, and the people are totally against that, right? So I'll watch and see what's happening tomorrow if 5 or 4 to the 9 go back and support the government. Because I'll wait, they already got notice. So the ball is in their court, whether or not they can support or deny the people of this country, not the government, the people of this country. What they ask for the government to do. Have a good night.
Thank you very much, my friend. Well, I think for the benefit of clarity, people, and to make certain that we can, of course, follow the conversation as assiduously as possible. Let us get some fundamentals here first and foremost. 1, there are 31 members of the Senate. the government would have 26 members, not 26, sorry, 16 members, 16 members. The president will have 9 appointed members of the Senate, and the opposition 6. We'll give you that 31. 16, 9, and 6. So, if there is a requirement for passage, that is a 2/3, then of course you're talking about 26 in order for that to happen in the Senate. It may be a little less. I hope I don't get my figures crossed up, because of course he just brought it to the floor, and I'm trying to, of course, address it from memory. But I'll check it out just in case, and I'm man enough to say I was wrong one way or another. But the fact of the matter is that just as the bill before, the Children's Life Fund, where there was a difficulty in the Senate, there was no difficulty, of course, in the lower house. But the fact of the matter is that if it is that there is a requirement of 2/3 because of the nature of the subject, because it is as if you're talking about people's salary or people's homes are considered to be sacred, and therefore you need a constitutional majority to, of course, interfere with it. The government had already stated when they were in, the then government already, of course, accepted the recommendations of the Salary Review Commission. But of course, everybody understood that you can't be a prime minister for about a month and get, of course, a $87,000 a month as pension. So something had to be done. And as the present government rightly says, it is protecting, of course, the public's interests or the public's purse. And of course, it was already bad that they accepted that at the level of the cabinet and not put it on the floor for debate. By the time it reached to debate, they had already accepted the increase at the cabinet level, and therefore it was par for the course. It was a procedural, what I consider to be tautology, a procedural tautology, unnecessary, ocious, but it came, they debated, but of course the government had its way, and of course they implemented that measure where, of course, there was a 30-something, 47% increase, whilst of course people were comparing that with the 4% that was offered to public servants. But he made a very important point there. And I want to go back to the debate first and foremost in the House, because I want to make certain that people understand clearly what we are talking about, because with respect, of course, to the Children's Life Fund, that is the example, and we have a similar scenario here where there is a need for constitutional majority. But in this particular debate, what we saw is that the opposition abstained. They abstained, and we predicted that. And Stuart Young did not visit the parliament. He says out of protest. No, it wasn't that at all. It was the fact that if he went there, he would have had to voted for, or put another way, against the measure. Against, of course, straighting the salaries from a third, a half, 2/3, and then of course full salary, depending on your years in the office of Prime Minister. So what they did, they agreed because they know that the population is upset. So what they did, they of course abstained, and I was saying that on the ground report some time ago last Friday. So they abstained. They could have said, listen, I do agree. But they didn't do that. They abstained. And Stuart Young could not have gone to the parliament for obvious reasons, because he would have had to either abstain or to say that he is in disagreement with the measure proposed by the government. And guess what? They knew that that was political suicide. That is why he stayed out. So let's not waste time. He did us no favor. And it wasn't about any protest. And it was targeting him. And that, of course, it was ad hominem law, where it was targeting him and all kind of nonsense. If he was there, he had to vote. And it's obvious, if he didn't vote for himself, he would have looked stupid. And of course, if he was there, once again, common sense will tell you that he had to vote for something that he is the beneficiary of. So he stay away to avoid that controversy. So let's not waste time. In the case of the Senate now, I suppose it's a simple majority. But if you take the votes of the independent bench, that's 9, and that of the government bench, 9 and 6 is 15. The government still has 1. So they should be able, of course, to pass it without the support of either the opposition or the independent senators. But the caller made a very important point, whether or not the senators, the independent senators, are going to go the way of the government senators. The government senator, I predict, will have to go the way of abstaining. That's what they will do. They won't say outright that, no, I disagree, because they know the political consequence and how the population feel about that. So they will not go that route. They will go the route of abstaining. It will be interesting to see if the independent senators will abstain. They have one of two choices, either abstaining or agree with the government. You know what I say? I said the senators have one of two choices, abstaining with the opposition or agreeing with the government. It's not a case that, of course, they could say that they don't want that measure at all. They don't have that option. That is the option that they have. If they, of course, abstain, like what I suspect the opposition will be doing, then it will certainly confirm to the casual observer of their political intent, their political disposition, and of course, the ultimate is they cannot be trusted. That's what's going to happen. It matters not whether these technical lawyers lawyers come bringing in technical things and saying people are independent, and they have of course independent of mind, etc., and they don't caucus, but act like a caucus and all of that. That will be a very interesting development that will take place in the parliament on that particular measure. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night.
A pleasant good night to you, Uncle Lennox, and all your listeners on the World Wide Web.
Same to you, my
Share the
friend.
live.
Yes.
And we need the 40,000.
Yes, man.
Well said, Uncle Lennox, and what it details, and it have an and to that, and the independent president senators, the B team and the PNM decide to follow and vote against it. The people, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, for them to get redress is to come out and tell the president that Vera is one that he have received state brief, right? And then the next one who stand up 3 times and they like to use standing order, they was wrong. And let them know the boundary and the lane to stay in. And it's we the people have to come out now and tell Christine Kangaloo, the gospel preacher, the PNM, that the PNM no longer in power, and don't leave all the agents to do all the dirty bidding, because enough is enough. Because Stewart do not deserve that. And everybody know it, except them 9 independent PNM senators. Because in the last parliament, of the 12th parliament, all of them was voting with the government, putting everything and giving them the support. The water down, the procurement legislation, the TTRA, and the mash up Trinidad and the property tax is the independent set of them. And when they do check the background on all of them, they have affiliation and relative bloodline to people in the Integrity Commission, in state different commissioners and different ministers they're related to. And you see that different companies affiliated getting state brief. So if we want independent, and it's enough, is enough. The long and the short of it is to tell the president, start revoking people who is biased, because we all want to bias and who are affiliated. So in this way, what I will tell you, Sitaram, Bayo, and enjoy your night, and I wish that Babaji, Sri President Modi visit your organization and give you the blessing. It will be so nice. But maybe if you don't visit in the body, it's due to certain circumstances of security reason. So let's keep the faith, and we hope that he may touch your organization. So, Uncle Lennox, keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
Now the troops have to come out.
Yes, man. Thank you very much. Once again, of course, my position on the whole question of that vote and the way how it will go, the opposition will abstain simply because they are fighting for political survival. So, because that is the team, a large part of it. There's hardly any new faces that were part and parcel of the old team, the PNM team, that gave themselves that raise. So they have no interest, strictly speaking, in, of course, supporting the government on the straightened system or the tier system that they are proposing, because of an issue arising from, yes, the scenario dealing with Rowley, of course, and giving up a prime ministerial position to a next person, etc. And of course, it was despicable. It was horrendous. It was egregious. It was an exercise in conmanism, trying to pass on state resources to a fella in that way. Because let's face it, it was the end of the term anyway. By September this year, he would have had to, of course, call elections. They had to call elections. So you give it up, having, of course, and what is more despicable, you increase the prime ministerial salary and then do that. Nobody is stupid. That's what you did. And Stuart Young have the belly and the audacity to say that he is being targeted. No. All prime ministers moving forward will be targeted, including, of course, well, this one is a anomaly because she was prime minister before, so she's entitled when, of course, she would have demitted the office of prime minister. I'm talking about Kamala Prasad Bissessa. That's an anomaly. But nobody else. Nobody else. A pleasant good night.
Hey, good night, sir.
Good night. Yes.
Mr. Lennox.
Good night.
Good night, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you.
Yeah. How are you?
Well, I'm fine. Of course, I'm doing my best.
Yeah. Mr. Lennox,
Yes.
I'm thinking, right?
Uh-huh.
If tomorrow this thing is defeated in the Senate,
Uh-huh.
you know what that could set a precedent for? Everybody could get a month as the prime minister. And then it's $87,000 for like 41 people if it comes to that, right? And that's something like, I can't, it's harming me in a way to believe that these people, boy, they really believe Stuart Young or our prime minister for 5 seconds or 5 days, like what it went mentioning. Is it possible that this guy could really get all that money when people suffering so bad just for acting or just for being the prime minister for a day?
Yeah. And it could be orchestrated. It could be manipulated.
I hear you.
Yeah, it could be strategized, as was the case with Stuart Young and Rowley. So what you do, you want to, of course, eliminate that mischief, and I think it is a reasonable one. You was a prime minister for a day, well, you get a third.
Yeah.
Right? If I think it's 2 years or whatever it is, you get a half. And if it's 4 years or so, yeah, less than 4 years, you get two thirds. And of course, if it's more than 4 years, 5 years or so, you get the full thing.
If tomorrow
Yeah.
the bill is defeated in the Senate,
Yeah.
mean that it will go back to the normal, how it is like you act prime minister for 5, or you're the prime minister.
Yeah,
for
if
5
it is defeated, then the status quo remains. And of course, the government will have to, there's some time has to elapse before they could bring it back again, maybe in some other form as the case may be. But if it is defeated, that's it for a certain amount of time.
Mr. Lennox, how long again this president have in office?
I think she has about a year again.
Oh God, I don't like the hurry time, but I hope something happens and she moves herself before that, because remember she was promoting we have to adopt the gospel of the PNM.
Oh yeah. And that is despicable. You can't do that, and that is where the conspiracy and the mistrust and the fact that the PNM will never see office again. Never see office again because of those kinds of blatant, obvious abuse of your office and the position that the people give you.
Yes.
And you use it for your own aggrandizement, for your own advancement. for your own evil agenda.
And you know, Mr. Smith.
Yes.
I can't believe you know all these people in the lower house. You see all the behaving like it's good issues and like it's the UNC destroy the economy and destroy the country and you see how they behaving?
They behaving just as how they were in government. They operate.
It's funny, but they should be telling the people where the new government going to get the money from, rather than to be asking, well, where are you going to get money from?
Yeah, that's what they do. They operate in silo. And a classic example of that siloism, I like to call that, you know, they do not see things interconnected. So when they ask you to pay property tax, and when they ask you to pay increase in water rates, or when they ask you to pay increase in electricity, they argue one by one, separate from each other, and not understanding that all that increase comes from one source. And they usually, of course, deal with domestic first. They never deal with the business people first. Always with domestic. So you have one salary, right? One salary. Coming out of that, they impose property tax. They impose increase in electricity. They impose increase in water rates. And each one of them, they make a separate argument, one not connected to the other, but at the end of the day, you as the citizen with one salary and all that money that come out of your salary, you're catching your aunt, nene, and so on. They in business with that because they made independent arguments for each one, and without, of course, any consideration that all that money coming out from one source, and they in business with that. Just implement it, and you have to pay because they say so with a slim majority.
Well, Mr. Lennox, do have a good night, and I think you're behaving very as I would. I'm trying to remember that it was the using is catastrophic.
Thank you very much. What's the word you say? All right, okay. I didn't get the last part of what he said, something about something I thought was a word that he was talking about. All right, so people, let us get it clear. They are going to abstain because the lower house, as we predicted, abstain. Why they abstain? Under normal circumstance, if they were in government, for example, and somebody brought a private motion to say that, of course, that is unfair and that they ought not, and they should rescind that amount of increase, even though, of course, it was already approved in the House and by the cabinet, they would have said no, they ain't going there. Leave the status quo as is. But because they are in opposition, and a tenuous opposition at that, only 13 seats in the 13th Parliament, and they now, of course, attempting, of course, to have a relatively soft landing politically, a relatively soft political landing. So they go on, they adopt the abstain route. But you and I should be saying that they should be in agreement with the government. That such a scenario that Rowley and Young orchestrated is untenable and cannot be countenanced. But in order to soften the blow, they went and abstained as opposed to what? To saying, well, listen, I am not in support of that measure. But at the same time, they were making arguments, as we saw with Imsmert, when he said they're trying to deprive a man from his salary. And he bring, of course, a constitutional, maybe a precedent to justify it. But this is not a case of that. This is not a case. It is a situation where it is unjust on the face of it, palpably. If one has to use their conscience, their sense of right and wrong, it simply is wrong. They can't understand that. So why is they abstain? They make an argument to, of course, go against the government's proposal. Let's go to Elijah. Professor, good night. Welcome.
Good night, Mr. Smith. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
You take WhatsApp calls in the program as well?
If what?
Do you normally take WhatsApp calls?
WhatsApp, only WhatsApp calls, yes.
Yeah, right. And I got spot there because I got spot there because I had the screen now.
Okay.
Extra weight now.
Yeah, it's only WhatsApp. This number is only WhatsApp for WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. Well, it's more affordable for me than paying extra weight now.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but I saw the program. I think it's good contribution and so forth. But what I want to correct it. The Senate majority, the chief, I think chief, they need to get the pass that bill, right? You had to get about 20 votes. Chief. All right. You had to get about 19 votes. 19 votes.
In this particular instance.
In particular, with the
dealing with the salary. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was talking about here mentioning 2/3, but that special legislation that we will look at the 2/3, you will have to get about 21 votes to get together 2/3. What about special legislation, special majority legislation will be needed now.
All right.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
But in that case,
no. It's two matters that we are talking about here. So which one you're dealing with? Are you dealing with the salary part, and that tier system that they set up, or are you dealing with the Children's Life Fund? Because it's two different things. Which one?
Which one are you dealing particularly?
Well, I want to know what you are dealing with, because I was referring, of course, to the salary part.
I was talking about salary part as well, yeah. It's cheaper, yeah. You got about 19 votes. 19 votes.
Yeah, so
50 from the government, four from the independent opposition.
Or the opposition, right. Okay, good. Yes. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one more last thing. I talk about the tenure of the president, how long she left again, because now she's sworn in at the 28th of the, she take out in 2023. So that's a 5-year stint, but where we are now? We're in 25, right?
Yeah, so it's 5 years in all, so 3, 4, 5. So it's about 2 years again?
Yes, 2 years and some months, yeah.
Yeah, 2
almost 2 years again, yeah.
All right.
About March 2028, yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Come from this time, subtract this, where we are now? From March 2028, yeah.
Okay. Thanks very much, of course. Thanks very much for that specificity.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas I was, of course, generalizing. Thank you for zeroing in the specificity. So thanks very much. I'm sure others would have benefited from that.
Right. Don't forget the percent majority. I correct with 10%, you know. So
yeah, well, because if you have 16, it means therefore.
Hello, excuse me, before 1 moment. The substantive vote is 15, right? Because you can't count 16 because 16 is the president in Senate, right? Right?
Oh, okay, so it's 15. All right, 15. Yeah. 15. The opposition has 15 senators. Is that what you're saying?
15 senators from the government side.
Okay, right. Okay, the government, right? Okay.
15
and 9 and 6.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you're right there. Yes.
Yeah. Because you always counting the government and you always counting the president and because
no, it's something else. The topic ambushed me, so I wasn't prepared. So I was talking from another issue, where there was a need for 28 in the law house, but that had to do with the other matter. So thank you for that clarity. Yeah. So you give us some clarity.
You're talking about the Senate side now. Yes, you're talking about the Senate side. Senate side we salary because the guys passed majority took you got nice 19 votes, 15 from the government, substantive senators.
Right.
Nice and the president. Is that side
So
president?
they need 4. They need 4 from either of them.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
That's the perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks very much.
Thanks
for that.
Take care.
Clarity. Yeah. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah. You need 4 from the Senate, from the opposition, and the president.
Either way.
4 years.
Either way, Senate or the independent bench. Yeah.
The president have 4 years only.
Pardon me?
I see the president term maybe 4 years.
The president term. No, I think the president term is 5.
No, I think it's 4. Check it out.
All right, I'll check it out. I'll check it out. Last time I checked, I think I saw 5.
The prime minister is 5 years.
Yeah, well, yes, obviously, but the president 5 terms. All right, and somebody of importance will have gotten a 3 term, 3 years as well.
Yeah, which is 4 or 5. But I most believe it's 4 years.
All right, okay. All right.
The program going good. I listen to it.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Yeah. So of course we have some research to do. At least I have, of course. I have to confirm with respect, of course, to what constitutes that 2/3, or what, of course, the president has in terms of appointments to the independent bench, quote unquote, because these days it's controversial. Let's take this call and see if we could glean some more from it. Professor, good night.
Lennox,
hey.
If you follow the press conference this morning, when I see Salamusin and them saying that they needed 4 votes, man.
4, right? Okay, so 15 and 4.
Votes on the independent senators.
So 15 and 4 is 19, right?
Christine Kangaloo will be a thorn in the UNC flesh for the next 3 years. She not demitting office until 2028. You understand?
Right. So that's 5 years, a 5-year term.
5-year term she did for. She was put into office in 2023. So she will leave in 2028. And she will have to carry that whole banner 9 she did with. So 10 of them gotta go when she leaving. I tell you so. She and them 9 independent PNM senators. I just feel they go put a spoke in the wheel tomorrow. No, I feel so. Because them too devious the way they're acting. Especially the one that named Murray. That lady making stand in order for all kind of chauvinist that didn't involve she.
Yeah, well, but I am of a different view. While of course the independent senators have no obligation because they have no constituency to look at. I think they have ultimately a conscience. Nobody with a conscience would want, of course, to vote against that measure. I cannot see it, but let's see. I mean, the proof of the pudding is when the exercise is completed or is in process.
You talking about conscience, and you see what they do with the Children Life Fund. They make amendments to the bill.
Well, the right? Children Life Fund gave them an opportunity, of course, to make some sensible contribution, meaning that the amendments, and the one in particular, I thought, while of course, while it was defeated ultimately, and the president had to, of course, do a casting vote scenario, but is a valid argument in that you don't want to give the minister these overwhelming power to in the way that it was. But then I'm sure that they would have understood that the person had judicial review. Whosoever the minister would have been, he is subjected to judicial review, and therefore that should have rested the argument there, and they should not have pursued it. But it appears that they were adamant about the part that the minister ought not to have that kind of power. And of course, the argument that was fashioned was reasonable by the government, in that there has been too many instances where the board, the committee, whatever you want to call it, that was responsible for determining, right? They either drag the foot one, or they make a decision that is not consistent as far as they're concerned with the criteria. So the minister would have had, of course, the opportunity to sort of dismiss all of that and take act. Usually, a minister in that sense will always work towards, of course, saving the child's life anyway. Any minister with a conscience, of course, if the PNM was in government, then you don't expect that. No, you don't expect that, right? And they would say that because I heard Hines, for example.
You heard Henry Brown?
Yeah.
He said about 80 of them, they know that they couldn't make it. So that's why they pretend not to support them.
Yeah, listen to this one. Hines, in his argument to take away a little kakada that parents with children with cerebral palsy, that's something I think you would be interested in. He took away that assistance, and then his argument was that URP was not designed for that. Full stop. Full stop. So you're quite right. When it comes into a PNM official, they are heartless like granite. Yeah, heartless. But go ahead. Anything else?
Listen, that is not PNM people alone collecting them thing. Is the population of this country, rather whatever party they support, coming for the assistance there or the funding, and they denying these people and causing them to death. So don't feel it's a UNC thing.
Yeah, and some procedural technicality, they ignoring that is a human being, flesh and blood, and want to live just as them. Them in business, and that is why they could orchestrate to empty the treasury in their own pockets and family and friend, and they in business, and them want to see government again. I know that and a pink donkey they will never see.
Well, I see one man getting plenty work these days, boy, is Larry Luz. I mean, not Larry Luz, Larry Lala. They hire him to do take on the cases of all these people that lost their jobs, right? The CPEP workers, the forestry.
That is superficial, and that is glamorizing, and that is theatrics for political reasons. Hear what that is about. That is about, because let's face it, the people who are affected directly are the contractors. The contractors in such a case, because these people will represent them and give them advice pro bono for the first time, right? They will give them it for free. But their job is to hoodwink the ordinary worker, who of course would be in the maybe the 10,000 range and so on. Them is only 300, but the 10,000. Their job is to hoodwink them and tell them, listen, something will happen. Hold on, and they are hoping that they are able to rile them up sufficiently that they can misbehave, that they could, of course, engage in what I consider to be, for want of a better term, subversive action against the government. That is what that is all about.
You're correct.
That is what that is about. I know. That's what they did. That's what they did to Robinson. They did Robinson that.
They're trying to rally the workers right now to protest. That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
They tell them they want to have a protest. All the workers.
That's right. So they have them there. It's really 300 who know that they got it because of political connection, but they are going to, as I say, they operate in silo. So they would want to dismiss that part of it. All they're seeing is contract. All they had a legitimate contract. And then, of course, their job is to tell those persons who they would have had a relationship with over the years, who would have go in the square and sign or run them down on some maxi taxi to, of course, go to their various meetings and so on. I believe that they could be beholden to them. Well, I know this government is not only on the right track, but I know by the time they get to that stage of riling up those ordinary workers, they would have already put things in place to absorb those workers and leave those 300 and these suddenly altruistic lawyers in the PNM like the cheese standing alone. That is what is going to happen as well. That's the scenario.
Good night, Lennox. Have a good night.
Okay then. Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. Let me get back, of course, to that scenario with, of course, the Laventille for Laventilians. I think it's tremendous, and many people don't know what really and truly goes on in that place, and that they say that it is a foregone conclusion.
The leaders searching for true success stories, you'll want to hear this. Because sometimes it takes a... If you're a community leader searching for true success stories, you'll want to hear this. Because sometimes it takes a world of support to spark local change. Here's how Laventille found its spark. For the people of Laventille and Eastport of Spain, gratitude runs deep, thanks to the government of India and its powerful commitment to community development. Through the Indian Ministry of External Affairs ITEC program, a micro-business incubator initiative took root right here, coordinated by the ever-dedicated Mr. Dada Gabriel from LFL. 7 years ago, this journey began with training, sacrifice, and microfinancing, all made possible by India's vision for global partnership. Today, we're celebrating a week-long observance of this initiative, a testament to what's possible when nations and communities unite. Mr. Dada Gabriel's expertise, shaped by entrepreneurial management training in India, has driven a grassroots movement that's generating wealth, creating jobs, and building peace and security right here in our neighborhoods. This week marks more than just an anniversary, it's a celebration of resilience, collaboration, and opportunity. From Sunday, June 29th to Friday, July 4th, we're honoring the impact of this initiative, with community leaders, business groups, banks, credit unions, and government officials all coming together. And as we prepare to welcome the Indian High Commissioner at our closing event, we say a heartfelt thank you to the government and people of India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and all who made this vision a reality. Here's to 7 years of growth, and to many more ahead. Because when the world lends a helping hand, local communities can truly thrive.
Yes, indeed. And the point I was making is that we had, of course, through the auspices of the resident High Commission, the Indian High Commission, we were able, of course, to get Dada, our representative, to go to India and benefit at the cost of the government of India, total cost. Of course, to have him partake with other persons across the globe. I think last night we played some of it. Tomorrow we'll play some of it as well to see the caliber and the type of persons who he had to interact with. And these kinds of experience you can't pay for, you know. You can't pay for. Suddenly it gives you a different perspective. So he was able to come back here and assist, of course, and create 7 micro businesses. And of course, we were able to find some seed funding to start their businesses. Of course, mainly in the entertainment field. Entertainment here I see as, of course, pubs and of course there's, I think, 1 or 2 of them would be grocers. But of course, I think, 2 of them, because it's 7 in all, and 2 of them are grocers. But the fact of the matter is that without his expertise when he came back, that would have been impossible. What is the next stage? Well, the next stage has to be that we have to expand that initiative. And we have to, of course, at the same time, make the young people realize that they too can participate. And once that is realized, because there's an attitudinal change that is required, we are going to see, of course, people coming, if only for curiosity, coming to this side of Port of Spain to do business, to shop for entertainment purposes, etc., one of the things that we would be pursuing immediately in this period of celebration between today, we had a little prayer service today, and of course, what I consider to be an ecumenical arrangement, where of course tonight after the program, we're supposed to have another discussion on the matter as to what we will do tomorrow, because we want to invite the press in to have a press conference maybe on Tuesday on the matter. But quite a number of things that are planned, but it is designed to at least conjure up and to, of course, excite people's, what I consider to be inquisitiveness. Yes, they want to see, and in the process, more people come, more customers, more business, more wealth, more the creation of employment, and of course, the young people have a duty and responsibility to say it is their responsibility to have an inviting climate, an inviting atmosphere in the area. People mustn't come across here and feel that they will get robbed. And worse yet, if they actually got robbed, we will be defeating the purpose for which this entire thing was set up. It's slow, it's arduous, it is sleepless nights, it is sacrifice, but I can tell you, joy cometh in the morning, as damp as it may be in the night. I thought I should, end in a biblical sense. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Welcome to the corridor. Pleasant good night.
Hey, good night, Mr. Lennox. And
good night to you, my friend.
On the line.
Yeah.
Mr. Lennox, see what's going on now? You see all this bacchanal going on here with this bunch of PNM? I want to call them a bunch of canal kongs, But you see these PNM people? Yeah. Let me tell you something, You see these people and them? The problem with them is this. They know that some files is going to the Attorney General, right? And they know it's lock-up time. So they're making a set of bacchanal in the place. You can't tell me one man, right, who is some PNM, campaign manager or something, so getting $29 million in 3 years, right? And I hear, where's his name again? Oh gosh, this young boy from Batavia, what name is again? Saddam. I hear Saddam talk about list about money and so forth now, and some kind of $33 billion unaccounted for, right? So you telling me $33 billion are unaccounted for? What about all the billions also that is unaccounted for? And that is what these fellas are making bacchanal for,
Smith in the Ministry of Public Administration, he ain't give us any details, but he said another 60 million project cannot be found. 60 million.
Well, this is what I said. That is where all the bacchanal taking place, because them fellas and them know is locked up.
But I want to tell you, go to the top of the class. I was wondering who.
Yeah, it's a firestorm they're trying to create.
Yeah, that's right. You see, what I talked about agitation is that. Exactly that. They're trying to deflect attention away from them by utilizing these poor people. But I hasten to add that they will not get the chance because these political appointed and given contractors will be replaced speedily, and the ordinary person will continue to, of course, go to work and get whatever they have to put on the table through that means. So at that much I am certain of. So they will try anything to try to avoid, of course, the criminal justice system and the civil justice system descended on them, but they will see themselves as the cheese. They will stand alone. Nobody must come to their rescue, or they must be able to manipulate anyone to come to their rescue, and of course unaware that is exactly what they are doing, as they did when they were in government, thieving the money and saying it's somebody else. Go ahead.
Well, here what I'm saying, Lennox. Today I saw the Colport man and Penny and them, like they had some kind of meeting or something today. I saw it in the news, and these people looking exceedingly angry, like they want to bully the government, like they want to beat up the government. If you see the faces of these people, I already know. Hey, here what's going on here.
I saw Scotland. I saw Penny. Scotland face looking like a sharpened cutlass. I mean, long.
Yes.
I mean, is that kind of?
They look exceedingly angry.
Yeah, he could play bite with a swordfish. And then of course you have
yeah. You were alligator good fight. Let me tell you something that was
Penny looking like she out of it all entirely. She just dazed. She
that days. She's that days. I was
watching. It's a poor and sorrowful sight.
But the thing about it, they're looking very angry and ferocious, and yet looking scared at the same time.
That's right, exactly. It's more scared than anything else, yeah. You know, the paranoid, only looking over the shoulder. That's what happened there. But of course, the government strategy is very, 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 I want to say superb. They are on the offensive as they try to, of course, try to deflect attention away from themselves. The government is there to, as Saddam or one of them said, we are not going to back away from the population. And of course, there are people who for the first time are asking some very, what I consider to be aggressive questions, but that's all right. Mm-hmm. That's all right. They have been answered. They will be answered. And when my turn reach, I want them to come at me as well, and of course I will answer them appropriately, because I know they couldn't. They couldn't even quiver under Rowley, because Rowley will tell them, "You hush, you is the man who when I was coming out from the court, you put me behind a bar and say that Rowley attend court." and not answering you and being selective and obnoxious and totally out of it as far as I'm concerned. But go ahead.
You know, that made me remember Foster Cummins. Remember when they wanted Stuart Young to be Prime Minister, and they had a big bacchanal, PNM bacchanal and so forth. And next thing you know, they say Rowley dropped some fire on Cummins, and next thing you know, Cummins' mind change like the weather. You understand? And he agreed to Stuart Young to become Prime Minister.
To say, I was in the 9 that agreed to call the election, as if Stuart Young and he and all had any choice. The pressures of the people were so overwhelming. Remember, I was predicting they will call election last year. That's all.
Mr. You always on point, you know. I noticed that you always on point since the last couple of years, since I got to know you and thing. You always on point.
Yeah.
You understand?
And on most early. Yeah. Have to call it early.
Yeah.
Too much of pressure.
Everything you say came to pass. Yeah. Everything that you said came to pass.
Yeah, look
I want
Friday,
to know.
I say they go abstain. You know, they abstain. I know if you're listening to me alone.
Well, I don't know. Somebody listen to somebody. But I tell you one thing, Mr. Lennox.
Yeah.
I want the PNM to know that the population is watching them very closely.
Oh, yeah,
and we will be watching them tomorrow in the parliament to see what the president, independent senators will do tomorrow.
Yes.
You understand? Because we know the behavior and we know what they're coming with. But we'll be watching them very closely, because these people are heartless. If them could vote against the Children Life Fund, what else them wouldn't do?
Yeah. Yes, people.
Anyway, I'm going to Mr. Lennox. So have a blessed night.
Yeah. Same to you, my friend. Same to you. I'm watching the time there. Whenever. All right. What else I would do? 42. All right. Okay. Thanks very much. Yes.
Anyway, I'm going to Mr. Lennox. So have a blessed night.
Yeah. Same to you. People, of course. I omitted to tell you earlier that, of course, we will be reducing the amount of time that we spend together maybe in the first instance by half an hour. So of course I'll complete by half 9. It's simply energy consuming, and then I have so many other things to do, such as what you are witnessing now. I had to put all of that together, the basic material for the technicians to, of course, put it together. All of that consumes time, and then, of course, I'm getting younger, getting older, so therefore I'm tiring faster. So I need to get a little early to bed, so to speak, so I could rise early as I am accustomed doing. All right. So don't vex with me, but of course we will cut off at 9:30 from tomorrow night. I see the time is now 9:44. So you see, I'm ready to cut off. So let's play that again, and then of course I think we will make our departure. All right. Let me just make sure that you understand what is happening in East Port of Spain by, of course, this initiative and the presence of the Prime Minister.
As we prepare to welcome the Indian High Commissioner at our closing event, if you're a community leader searching for true success stories, you'll want to hear this. Because sometimes, it takes a world of support to spark local change. Here's how Laventille found its spark. For the people of Laventille and East Port of Spain, gratitude runs deep, thanks to the Government of India and its powerful commitment to community development. Through the Indian Ministry of External Affairs iTech program, a micro-business incubator initiative took root right here, coordinated by the ever-dedicated Mr. Dada Gabriel from LFL. 7 years ago, this journey began with training, sacrifice, and microfinancing, all made possible by India's vision for global partnership. Today, we're celebrating a week-long observance of this initiative, a testament to what's possible when nations and communities unite. Mr. Dada Gabriel's expertise, shaped by entrepreneurial management training in India, has driven a grassroots movement that's generating wealth, creating jobs, and building peace and security right here in our neighborhoods. This week marks more than just an anniversary, it's a celebration of resilience, collaboration, and opportunity. From Sunday, June 29th to Friday, July 4th, we're honoring the impact of this initiative, with community leaders, business groups, banks, credit unions, and government officials all coming together. And as we prepare to welcome the Indian High Commissioner at our closing event, we say a heartfelt thank you to the government and people of India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and all who made this vision a reality. Here's to 7 years of growth, and to many more ahead. Because when the world lends a helping hand, local communities.
Yes, people, of course, we have come to the end of tonight's program. As I said, from tomorrow night, we will go to 9:30, and maybe after that, we will stop at 9 o'clock. Try to cut off an hour, so we take an hour, and of course, but we do what we have to do. Yes, indeed. So have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. God bless.
Heartaches, don't cry. Oh no. Just remember that God is standing by. Sometime when your burden is down, just remember God is standing by. Thank you, Lord. So there's no need to cry. Oh, God is standing by.
Yes, indeed, of course, don't forget, of course, tomorrow morning, the ground report, Andy, Mikey, and myself, we have some programming changes there as well, as we, of course, adapt and adjust to the new circumstances. The major task has been accomplished. We need now, of course, to put our hands to the wheels and contribute, of course, to the transformation that is necessary having regard to the poor performance of the PNM when it was in office.
If you're a community leader searching for true success stories, you'll want to hear this. Because sometimes, it takes a world of support to spark local change. Here's how Laventille found its spark. For the people of Laventille and Eastport of Spain, gratitude runs deep, thanks to the Government of India and its powerful commitment to community development. Through the Indian Ministry of External Affairs ITEC program, a micro-business incubator initiative took root right here, coordinated by the ever-dedicated Mr. Dada Gabriel from LFL. 7 years ago, this journey began with training, sacrifice, and microfinancing, all made possible by India's vision for global partnership. Today, we're celebrating a week-long observance of this initiative, a testament to what's possible when nations and communities unite. Mr. Dada Gabriel's expertise, shaped by entrepreneurial management training in India, has driven a grassroots movement that's generating wealth, creating jobs, and building peace and security right here in our neighborhoods. This week marks more than just an anniversary, it's a celebration of resilience, collaboration, and opportunity. From Sunday, June 29th to Friday, July 4th, we're honoring the impact of this initiative, with community leaders, business groups, banks, credit unions, and government officials all coming together. And as we prepare to welcome the Indian High Commissioner at our closing event, we say a heartfelt thank you to the government and people of India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and all who made this vision a reality. Here's to 7 years of growth, and to many more ahead. Because when the world lends a helping hand, local communities can truly thrive.